Hi, we are live on YouTube today talking about deodorants, and I've got all kinds of props here. I'm going to talk through them. But the title of this is your deodorant toxic? And how do you know? And what do you do if you do find out it's toxic? How do you pick a good, clean one? So let's talk a little bit about why it matters. So most traditional what you think of just deodorants are actually a combination of a deodorant and an antiperspirant in one. A deodorant means we put something on so we don't smell so bad. Antiperspirant means we put something on so that we don't sweat as much. So on the surface, those sound like great things, but let's think through what they really do. So if we don't want to smell so bad, we sometimes will slather the armpit area with synthetic fragrance, which has a lot of toxins in it. It also can have something called parabens and aluminum in those products. So parabens are what's called an endocrine disruptor. It means fancy way to say that they mess with your hormones, so nobody wants that. And aluminum is toxic, and so it's a toxin. We don't want it. Can do all kinds of things to the body. So we don't want either one of those things. So that's on the additive side. And on the fragrance side, a lot of those fragrances they put in there are they contain synthetic things, and then our liver has to work really hard to clear those out, and it's long term, it's not good for us. And then antiperspirant, why do we not want to plug that up? Well, an antiperspirant is like, think of it like rubbing a stick of glue under there. We're just kind of sealing that up so we don't sweat as much. But if you realize that sweating is a way for your body to naturally get rid of those toxins and clear things for your body, we're supposed to, we want to be sweating. So if we're stopping that, then that's not so great. There's actually, I would say that the literature, I actually went and looked for a specific peer-reviewed journal article that said, hey, is there an associated risk of breast cancer and using antiperspirants? And the actual official answer is that they haven't been able to have a study that definitively proves that. And that's because it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do that. But I do know from studying physiology that one of the most common sites of breast cancer is that upper quadrant closest to the armpit. The upper and outer quadrant of the breast is where tumors tend to be seen most frequently. So for me, that's enough information to say, wait a minute, I just, knowing everything I know about plugging up sweat, and that's how your body detoxes and all that stuff, I just want a different alternative. I want a safe and natural deodorant only. I don't want to use an antiperspirant. So when I first learned all this stuff, it was over 20 years ago, and I was in chiropractic school with my husband, and we had just gotten married. And I went on this journey to find a safe and clean alternative to my antiperspirant that I'd been using for years. And it wasn't pretty at first. I went through all of these different brands and none of them seemed to work. And he had this thought that he had married this like hippie that's going to smell like patchouli oil and body odor because my deodorants weren't working. And so let's talk through, first of all, if you do, if you're listening to this and you say, you know what, that's a great idea. I want to make a switch and I want to do something a little less toxic and a little more clean and healthy and natural alternative. The first thing to know is sometimes that transition takes a little bit, and you might actually think, oh, this isn't going to work. It's really, this is not good. So just know that for some people, the transition is seamless. There's no ill effects. It happens pretty quick. And for some people, it's not quite as fast. It can take weeks, maybe even a month to see all of that residual antiperspirant clear your pores, all that kind of stuff. So what are some things to do if you're making the switch? One thing you can do is you can do an armpit detox. You can take you take some bentonite clay, water, and apple cider vinegar, and you make yourself a little paste and you let it dry for about 15 minutes, and then you wash it off. So what is that? What's in that? about a tablespoon of bentonite clay, about a teaspoon and a half of water, and about 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And it's that the apple cider vinegar contains enzymes. Bentonite clay is a binder. So any kind of like residual toxins and bacteria and things that are clogged up in there, it kind of draws them out. And you can use this paste once a day for a few days. You can use it once a week. You can, however you need to do it to sort of detox and clear that armpit area. So you can order bentonite clay on Amazon or buy it at a local health food store or something like that. It just makes a little paste, slap it on there, let it dry for a few minutes, and then get in the shower or use a washcloth and get it out. So that's something to help ease the transition. And then the other thing you can do is pick a good deodorant. So here's my little stash of some of the different ones that I've brought in for show and tell. And how do we know whether or not these are good and doing what they're supposed to do? Because they say paraben free, aluminum free, all natural, all this stuff. So I want to recommend that you get out your phone and download the Yuka app. It's YUKA is the name of the app. And if you, just so you know, I don't have any stock in any of these deodorant companies. I don't have stock in Yuka app or anything like that. In fact, one of the things I like about it, it's a non-for-profit company, and you cannot pay as a business, as a product selling deodorant or shampoo or whatever you sell. You can't pay to get a cleaner, better rating. So it's in my opinion, it's one of the better ones. It's unbiased and things like that. So just it's like a little point and scan thing. You just scan all your deodorants and you get a score from 0 to 100. 0 is terrible. 100 is the cleanest, most natural product you can get. So there's a free version and a paid version of that Yuka app. I use the free one forever. Now I just went up to the paid version. It's like $9 a year for this. And I think it's worth it because that allows me to search for things instead of having to have the whatever I want to scan right in front of me. That's the difference. But anyway, you can use this. Just start with the free app. Grab that app. And so the first two that I want to talk about here, these Arm & Hammer choices. The reason I put these on here is because they're everywhere and they're cheap. They're like $2, $3, $4 a tube. And some people listening to me, if I recommend a deodorant that's $30 a bottle, like some of these Lume and Primally Pure and things like that, they're a little more pricey, and people are like, this girl's out of touch. She's going to ask me to spend $30 on a tube of deodorant. And so what I want you to know is this doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go and ditch every unnatural product you have and spend $1,000 revamping your world to be non-toxic. You can do this. One of these gets which one? This one gets a 72 and this one gets a 65. And I have another one at home that I don't have with me. It's unscented and it's even higher. It's closer to 80. But because the fragrances in a lot of cases are what end up killing you on toxins because they're synthetic. But just so you know, you can always start with something like that. That what I found with those is you end up having to reapply them like once in the morning and then maybe later in the day, like especially if you're going to go work out in the afternoon or you're going out at night or something like that. Just stick on another coat of it. And then we've got this Humble, which gets a 93. So we found this. I'm going to give a little shout out to Christy, my office manager, who picked this up at TJ Maxx and scanned it. She's the one that introduced me to the Yuka app way back. But anyway, it's just like $5. She picked it up at TJ Maxx, pretty clean. And then now I want to talk about Native. This is the one that I was using for a long time. And when I first started using it many years ago, it scanned really high, like it got a 90 something. And so it was working. It got a good score. I was super happy. And then I just scanned it and it gets a 45 now. What happened? Occasionally, these little small companies that make clean products get bought out by larger companies, which is what happened, I believe, in the case of Native. And so check back every once in a while and make sure that your products are still they haven't changed the recipe, or because that's what happened in my case. So I just found that out, and I'm going to make the switch. A couple on my list that I have not personally tried, but I have heard good feedback from my patients are Primally Pure and Lume. I think that's how you say it. It's Lume. I'm not sure, but Lume actually advertises that you can go 72 hours without having to reapply. So that caught my attention, and I'm going to try that one. So that's just, how do you know? Maybe you're a doTERRA or Young Living Rep, or you sell Melaleuca products, and they have all this stuff that they claim is healthy and non-toxic and clean. Check it. Now you've got a resource, the Yucca app. You scan it, see how it rates, and then you can make the decision on if you're willing to live with those ingredients. When you scan it, all of the ingredients pop up, and they tell you on the app, hey, this is why we don't love this ingredient. It's been shown to cause reproductive damage, or it's an allergen. The fragrances in that create allergies, or whatever the problem is, they list it out. So you're educated, and you have good information, because I try to be very objective in the way how I approach everything. So whether it's deodorant, or looking at lab tests with you, and not just saying what I think, but looking at data and being methodical and evidence-based and objective. So this is just a good way to do that. The other thing you can do is make your own. And there's a blogger, Wellness Mama, and her blog is wellnessmama.com, and she has a bunch of great recipes. I've actually made some deodorant. I've made chapstick. I've made body butter, all these things. It's easy. It's just, I get busy, and then I run out of motivation to do that stuff. So I just go to the store and buy my deodorant. But if you're a DIY kind of person and you love that, check out Wellness Mama and her blog, because she has some good recipes for that. So I hope that this was fascinating to you. Just leave me a comment, or tell me what your deodorant scored or something like that, and we can, if you have a good one that you like that actually really works, share it with us in the comments and tell us what it scored on the Yucca app if you have looked that up. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day.